What if I told you that 6 months from now, you could be living a life you barely recognize, stronger, sharper, more focused, or you could be exactly where you are right now? It's not a trick question. It's a mirror, and it's time to look into it. Every day, you're making a silent decision to grow or to stay the same, to evolve, or to settle, and most people, they don't even know they're choosing. They wake up, scroll a little, complain a little, work just enough to survive, and then escape into distractions that make the pain go numb. Then they go to bed, wondering where their time went, wondering why nothing changes, wondering if this is all there is. But it doesn't have to be that way. Not for you. You are 6 months away from a version of yourself that will feel like a different person, not because life magically got easier, but because you decided to change the way you think, the way you move, and the way you live. Here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Most people are addicted to their comfort zones, not because they love comfort, but because they're terrified of becoming someone new. They fear the version of themselves who shows up early, trains when they're tired, reads when it's boring, and speaks with conviction, because that version demands more. That version makes excuses die. That version requires work. But hear me clearly, you don't need more time. You need a new standard. Jim Rohn, one of the greatest minds in personal development, once said, "Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change." That change isn't an accident. It's intentional, and it starts the moment you decide that mediocrity is no longer acceptable. So here's the real question. If not now, then when? How many more months will you give to habits that are stealing your energy? How many more weeks will you live on autopilot, convincing yourself that someday you'll start? How many more nights will you lay in bed, knowing deep down that you were built for more, but doing nothing about it? You know that pain, the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't scream, but whispers constantly, the kind that shows up every time you compare who you are to who you could be. That pain doesn't go away with time. It goes away with action, and that's the gift of this moment, right here, right now, because if you're still listening, there's something inside you that refuses to settle, that inner fire, that's your power. That's your potential calling you out of the shadows, and you owe it to yourself to answer. What if the next 6 months became the most focused stretch of your life? What if you committed to your mindset like your life depended on it, because it does? What if you designed your days to build the habits that winners live by, not just wish for? What if you stopped trying to change everything at once and started stacking small wins every single day until they built a fortress of discipline around you? Would it be hard? Yes. Would it be uncomfortable? Definitely. Would it be worth it? More than you can imagine. Because this isn't just about habits or mindset or motivation. This is about freedom, the kind that only comes when you can trust yourself. When you no longer break promises to your goals, when you no longer let fear, distraction, or fatigue drive your decisions. You're not watching this by accident. You found this because something inside you is ready. Not for perfection, but for progress with purpose. And if you stay with this all the way through, you'll get a blueprint that can change everything. A clear path based on the principles that built empires. A process designed by Jim Rohn himself, not to impress you, but to empower you. Because in the end, this is not just about the next 6 months. It's about the rest of your life. So ask yourself again, where do you want to be 6 months from now? Look around, your future is waiting. But it won't wait forever. You've already felt it. That inner tug, the silent call that whispers you were made for more. But feeling that call isn't enough. Millions feel it. Few answer. Why? Because most people aren't stuck because they lack motivation. They're stuck because they've been trained to think small, to doubt themselves, to shrink every time life demands more. It begins with how you think. Your mindset isn't just some abstract thing. It's the lens through which you see every opportunity, every problem, every moment. And if that lens is cracked with fear, doubt, or scarcity, then everything you look at appears smaller than it really is, including yourself. What you believe becomes what you chase. What you chase becomes what you experience. And your experiences become the evidence that either builds your confidence or buries it. That's why the first step in transformation isn't what you do, it's how you think. You can't rebuild a life with the same mindset that built the one you want to leave behind. Jim Rohn said it best, You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction. That shift in direction starts in the mind, and it's not about becoming someone else. It's about uncovering the version of yourself that's been buried beneath excuses, distractions, and comfort. You've been taught to believe success is complicated, that it's only for the elite, that it's out of reach unless you're lucky, gifted, or connected. But success isn't a miracle, it's a decision, and that decision starts with your thoughts, what you accept, what you tolerate, and what you expect from yourself every day. You've tolerated too much. You've accepted too little. That ends now. Rebuilding your mindset means reprogramming the beliefs that have been running your life on autopilot. Every time you say, "I'm not good enough," your mind listens. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," your habits take note. You're training yourself whether you realize it or not. So train yourself to rise. Speak the language of power. When you say, "I'm not there yet, but I will be," something changes. When you replace "I'm too tired" with "I'll push through," momentum starts to build. You begin to rewire your mind not for survival, but for dominance. And don't be fooled. This isn't toxic positivity. This is mental war. You're battling years of programming, voices that told you to play it safe, memories that remind you of failure, and fears that scream you'll never make it. But every time you show up anyway, you chip away at that lie. Every moment you choose growth over comfort, your mindset sharpens, your identity upgrades. This isn't about motivation that fades in a few hours. This is about mindset transformation that sticks for a lifetime. You don't need more hype. You need mental armor, discipline, perspective, control. That's what creates the foundation strong enough to hold the habits that change everything. You rebuild your mindset by controlling what enters it, what you listen to, what you read, what you speak, and who you surround yourself with. Cut the noise, the gossip, the drama, the doubt. Every voice you allow access to your mind either plants a seed or poisons the soil. Be ruthless with your inner world, because your outer world will always follow it. You don't become successful by accident. You design it. You wake up earlier, not because it's trendy, but because your goals matter more than your excuses. You read books, not for motivation, but for mental ammunition. You journal, not because it's cute, but because your thoughts are a battlefield, and you need clarity to win. 6 months of that, and you won't even recognize yourself, because it's not just about what you achieve in that time. It's about who you become, a person with a renewed mind, a person who doesn't fold when life gets heavy, a person who chooses to rise when most stay seated. That mindset doesn't just help you win, it makes losing impossible. Because even when you fall, you know how to stand again. Even when you fail, you know how to learn. Even when you're tired, you know how to push. This is the mindset of champions, and it's available to you. Not next year, not when things are perfect, now. Because once your mind is rebuilt, there's nothing left that can stop you. The excuses fall away, the fear gets quieter, the path becomes clearer. And that's when you're ready to build the habits that fuel the next level of your life. The world will try to distract you. People will try to doubt you. Your past will try to haunt you. But your mindset? That will become your weapon, your shield, your edge. If you're ready to win, it starts here, not with what you do, but with who you decide to become. And when your mind aligns with your vision, everything else will follow. Habits are not just what you do. They are who you are becoming. Every action you repeat is a vote for the identity you want to live with. And the truth is, you are always building habits, either by design or by default. Right now, many people are stuck not because they're lazy, but because they've built a system that rewards comfort and punishes growth. They scroll when they're overwhelmed, they procrastinate when they're uncertain, they retreat when they should rise. These are habits too, and they run deep. But here's the shift that changes everything. You don't break bad habits, you replace them with stronger ones. Habits are like muscles. The more you train them, the more powerful they get. And like muscles, you don't build them in a single day, but you do build them with daily intention. Discipline is not something you wait to feel. It's something you choose to activate every morning, every decision, every time you feel like quitting. Jim Rohn taught that success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Think about that. Not luck, not genius, just simple disciplines. The problem is most people underestimate how powerful the simple things are, until they're buried under the weight of their own inconsistency. The first habit that changes your life is showing up when you don't feel like it. Because anyone can act when it's easy. Winners act when it's hard. That's what separates the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. Not talent, not intelligence, just the willingness to keep moving when everything in you says stop. The second habit is protecting your focus. The world is loud, your phone is loud, people's opinions are loud, and yet the voice that truly matters, your own, is getting drowned out. You need silence, space, clarity. Build the habit of cutting distractions, even if just for 1 hour a day. That hour of deep focus is worth more than 10 hours of scattered effort. Third, track your actions, not for perfection, but for awareness. What gets measured gets managed. Write down what you do. Review it. Improve it. Most people never grow because they never reflect. You cannot fix what you do not face, and here's the key. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick 3 habits, just 3, the ones that matter most. The ones that, if done consistently, would make the biggest impact over the next 6 months. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's reading 10 pages a day. Maybe it's working out. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's setting daily goals. It doesn't matter what they are. What matters is that you own them, master them, build a routine that protects them. Because your habits build your identity, and your identity shapes your future. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. If your systems are weak, your results will be temporary. But if your systems are strong, if your habits are automatic, purposeful, and aligned, then success becomes inevitable. Habits are not about willpower. They're about structure. Set your environment to win. Lay out your clothes the night before. Delete the apps that waste your time. Put your phone in another room. Leave reminders. Reward progress. Make winning easier. If it sounds too simple, good. That's the point, because simple works when it's repeated. Most people don't fail because they didn't try. They fail because they tried for 2 days and quit when it got inconvenient. But if you really commit to your habits for the next 6 months, they'll carry you further than any burst of motivation ever could. You don't need to overhaul your entire life today. Just do what the person you want to become would do right now. Then do it again tomorrow and the next day until it becomes who you are. Because in 6 months, the habits you build will either be the reason you're proud or the reason you're still stuck. You choose. You've started shifting your mindset. You've begun aligning your habits. Now it's time to bring it all together into a plan that actually moves your life forward. Not someday, not when it's perfect, now. This is your 6-month blueprint, a focused, powerful path designed to take you from where you are to where you're meant to be. 6 months, 180 days, that's all it takes to start a complete transformation. Mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially. It begins with awareness. The first month is not about changing everything. It's about understanding where you stand. You need to get brutally honest about your life. Audit your time. Audit your habits. Audit your energy. Where is it going? What's draining you? What's building you? Clarity is power. You can't escape a prison you don't realize you're in. Most people rush into new goals without first removing the things that are quietly destroying their momentum. The wrong people, the mindless distractions, the negative self-talk. Before you can build anything new, you must make space. So this first month is your clean slate. It's uncomfortable, it's confronting, but it's necessary. The second month is about reprogramming your mind. Now that you've cleared the noise, it's time to rebuild your internal narrative. What do you believe about yourself, about success, about what's possible? This is where affirmations, journaling, and reading become non-negotiable. Fill your mind with voices that lift you higher. Study people who have done what you want to do. Learn their thinking, not just their results, because once your mind sees something as possible, your body will start chasing it. By the 3rd month, your foundation is set. This is where you shift into habit mastery. Choose your top 3 habits. Keep them simple but consistent. Show up every day, even when you're tired, even when you're doubting everything. Because every time you follow through, you strengthen your identity. You stop being someone who tries and become someone who follows through. Then comes the 4th month, elimination. This is where discipline sharpens. You've added power to your routine. Now it's time to remove what no longer serves you. The excuses, the delays, the draining habits that slip in when no one's watching. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about intentionality. You're not just avoiding weakness, you're choosing strength again and again. The 5th month is about acceleration. You've built habits. You've strengthened your mindset. Now it's time to level up. Take what's working and double down. Push yourself beyond your old limits. Don't settle for improvement. Chase mastery. That may mean developing a new skill, starting a side hustle, or going deeper into your craft. Whatever it is, aim higher. You are no longer surviving. You're building something unstoppable. And the 6th month? That's reflection and elevation. Look back, not with shame, but with pride. What did you overcome? What changed? What did you prove to yourself? This is where most people drop off. They don't pause to measure their growth. But this moment matters. It solidifies the transformation. It allows you to see not just what you've done, but who you've become. By now, you've built momentum. You've gained control. You've proven that you don't need years to change your life. Just 6 months of ruthless focus, honest self-assessment, and daily execution. The world won't understand it. People will question it. Some will even try to pull you back into who you used to be. But that's the test, because transformation doesn't need validation. It demands commitment. This 6-month plan isn't magic. It's movement. It's not a promise that everything will be perfect. It's a path to becoming powerful. And the best part, you don't have to wait for permission. You don't need approval. You just need to start. One step, one habit, one belief. Then repeat. Because 6 months from now, your life will reflect the systems you built, the mindset you grew, and the effort you chose to give, when it would have been easier to quit. And if you commit now, really commit. That future is already yours, so what happens after the 6 months? You don't stop, you evolve. This was never about a finish line. It was about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need one. Someone who lives with clarity, not just chases it for a season. Someone who doesn't fall off when the excitement fades, because their identity isn't tied to motivation. It's anchored in standards. See, after 6 months, the world around you might still look similar, but you're not. Your eyes are sharper, your energy is cleaner, your standards are higher, you're no longer reactive, you're intentional. You've built proof to yourself that you can commit, adapt, and execute even in silence, even in doubt, even when no one's watching. But now comes the real opportunity: sustain and scale. This is month 7 and beyond. The elite phase, where your focus shifts from personal survival to strategic expansion. You've done the hard rewiring, now it's time to multiply. Multiply your habits into systems. Multiply your consistency into results. Multiply your discipline into legacy. You stop doing everything manually and start building efficiency. You delegate where needed. You automate what drains you. You refine what works, because success without structure is just stress in disguise. And your vision, that expands too. What once felt impossible now feels like the minimum. You raise the bar, not out of ego, but because you know what's possible when you show up with relentless purpose. That business idea you shelved, it's now a launch plan. That body goal you once dreamed of, it's your baseline. That financial ceiling, it cracks because you no longer play small. But here's the shift most people miss. After transformation comes transmission. Now you lead. Now you pour into others, not from a place of needing validation, but from a place of overflow. You become the proof, the example. The voice that reminds others it can be done because you did it. And you didn't need 1 million followers or a perfect plan. You just needed a decision and relentless follow through. You become a force, not the loudest in the room, but the most certain. Your presence alone speaks. Your habits command respect and your mindset. It becomes your shield. You don't entertain drama. You don't chase cheap dopamine. You don't negotiate with your discipline. Because you know what it cost you to become this version, and you refuse to go back. So from here on, it's not about hustling harder, it's about living smarter. Protecting your peace, investing in your growth, surrounding yourself with people who challenge your greatness, not your worth, creating a life where excellence isn't the exception, it's the expectation. And when life tests you again, and it will, you won't crumble. You'll rise because you didn't build this version of you on hype. You built it on hard days, silent wins, and invisible progress. So this is your new chapter. Month 7 to forever, you don't fall back, you lead forward. You don't chase purpose, you live it. You don't wait for opportunity, you are the opportunity. And now, the world has no choice but to adjust. Because you've already decided, you will not return to who you were. Not now, not ever. Absolutely. Let's continue the journey, not just of action, but of ownership. You've transformed, you've built, you've elevated. Now comes the most powerful chapter of all, embodiment. This is where everything you've learned becomes instinct. You no longer have to try to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You no longer talk about vision. You move like someone with vision. Your habits locked in. Your energy intentional. Your presence undeniable. You don't just have a routine. You have a rhythm. One that's aligned with your values, your purpose, and your next level. You're no longer bouncing between motivation and burnout. You've stabilized. You've stepped into the calm power of someone who knows who they are and where they're going. And now the game changes. This is where the average person checks out. They plateau. They get comfortable. They think, I've made it this far. That's enough. But you're not here for enough. You're here for excellence. So the question becomes, how do I keep evolving without losing myself? The answer, alignment over achievement. You stop chasing external trophies. You start tuning in. Does this goal still match my growth? Does this environment reflect my future? Does this relationship feed my energy or drain it? You're no longer impressed by noise. You're focused on signal, what's real, what's true, what matters, because success without peace is failure in disguise. This next level is about refinement, your time, priceless, your attention, guarded. Your energy, protected like currency. You simplify. You remove what's good to make room for what's great. You build systems that allow you to thrive without chaos. You make fewer decisions because your standards already make them for you, and then you multiply. This is where wealth builds. Not just financial, but spiritual, emotional, relational wealth. You learn how to scale your time, your skills, your impact. You become a builder of more than habits. You become a builder of people, of teams, of movements. Others will ask how you did it. And you'll tell them, I didn't wait to feel ready. I started. I stayed. I showed up when it was boring, when it was hard, when no one believed in it. I gave myself 6 months. And then I never stopped. You become living proof that consistency outperforms talent. That discipline is a superpower, that clarity is more powerful than motivation, that 6 months can start a revolution, but embodiment is how you make it last for life. And here's the most powerful shift: you stop hustling to prove. You start creating to serve. You know your worth now. You know your power. You don't chase approval. You create value. You don't wait to be discovered. You build what you were born to lead. You walk into every room different. Not arrogant, but anchored. And the people who knew the old you, they won't recognize this version. Some will leave, some will doubt. That's fine. Growth doesn't require permission. It requires courage. And you've got that now, not because it was handed to you, but because you earned it. So here's the truth. There's no finish line. There's no moment where you've made it. There's only deeper levels of alignment, expression, and expansion. And now, it's your choice. Do you stop here? Or do you keep sharpening, keep building, keep rising? Because your next level isn't a place, it's a version of you that's already waiting. You just have to keep walking toward it. Let's keep going. because once you've stepped into embodiment, there's still one more evolution left, legacy. This is the phase most never reach, not because they're incapable, but because they get stuck in the loop of doing. And forget to become, but not you. You've done the inner work. You've mastered your mindset, refined your habits, upgraded your environment, aligned your actions. Now, the game shifts completely from success to significance. See, legacy isn't about what you accomplish. It's about what you leave behind. It's about what your presence activates in others. It's the ripple effect of who you've become echoing through people, actions, decisions, lives. This is where you stop playing solo. You start building impact ecosystems, you mentor, you guide, you create frameworks for others to rise. You realize the most powerful thing you can give someone isn't money, motivation, or even a map. It's example, living proof that transformation is real, not in theory, but in practice. You become the blueprint, not because you followed one, but because you became one. Now your name carries weight, not from fame, but from integrity. You show up the same way, on camera or off, in public or private. You've built a life that doesn't just look good. It feels good, it serves, it elevates, it lasts. And the wild part, it all started with 6 months. 6 months of silence. Of small wins, of self-respect, of discipline when no one believed in you, of showing up with no spotlight, of pushing through when your old self screamed for comfort. Now, you're unrecognizable, in the best way. But legacy is not just built on who you become. It's sustained by how you lead, and leadership isn't about authority. It's about responsibility. Responsibility to hold the line, to walk in truth, to create space for others to rise without shrinking your light. You're not the loudest in the room, but your presence speaks louder than any words ever could. Because while others are still searching for secrets, you embody the system. You are the strategy. You are the mindset. You are the example. So what now? You keep building, you keep refining, you keep giving, not out of lack, but from overflow, not to impress, but to ignite. You write the book, you launch the movement. You start the school, you raise the standard in your family, your industry, your community. Because now you realize this was never just about you. Your breakthrough was just the beginning. Your transformation wasn't just personal, it was generational. And that's legacy. It's not built in noise. It's built in the unseen moments, the hard choices, the silent sacrifices, the daily decision to rise. When it would have been easier to stay the same, so ask yourself, what do I want them to say when I'm not in the room? What do I want to be remembered for? Not just what I did, but who I was, because in the end, that's what lasts, and you've already started building it.